All right, so we're gonna finish up 3.3 by moving on to part two. And I looked at your work for part one, and for the most part, it looks like everyone did a great job understanding how to solve those. So we're gonna move on with solving by factoring. So this is why I had you do that factoring review worksheet so that you weren't like in shell shock when it comes to seeing sine, cosine, and the trig functions within a factoring problem. So it says, reminder, when we are asked to find the solutions to an equation, such as x squared minus 9x equals -8, it says, what are we finding in regards to its graph? So if you can remember, what we did is we took a look at this, and if you can remember, this would be a parabola. So if I would get everything on one side and set this equal to 0, we could try to solve this by factoring. So we could solve this by doing x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 8, because the numbers that give us a product of 8 and a sum of -9 are -1 and 8. And we would get two answers here. And visually what that meant is if we have this parabola, it crossed the x-axis at 1 and down here at 8, and we know it's going to open up. So I know that's a really rough sketch without, perfectly, we could put it in our calculator. But what you're finding is you are finding the x-intercepts of the graph. And remember, another word for x-intercepts is the zeros, or what we call the roots of the equation. So the reason we want to start with this example of what are we doing when we're solving this equation is to remind ourselves, when we graphed last chapter the sine, cosine, and tangent graphs, we want to remember, what are we even solving for? Like, what is the point of solving for this x? So I'm going to pull up on your screen, you should see the parent function for sine. So this is our y equals sine of x graph. And remember, it started with its intercept, and it hit its max, intercept, min, and back to its intercept. So this was the parent for sine. And the important thing to remember when we get into example one, so that this clicks, is that our amplitude went from 1 down to -1. So our range, our domain, remember, was all real numbers, but our range had the only, or for the parent, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but the range, if you can remember, went from -1 to 1. So I want you to remember that when we come back, and I can pull this back up for example one, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to solve these six examples by just factoring. So in number one, just as you did, we always want to look for a GCF first. So I think if we pull out the cosine, help if my pen would write, the cosine of x, and then we are left with, I'm sorry, we want to factor out cosine squared of x. We are left with 3 minus the sine of x, and that equals 0. So what happens now is we can use that zero product property that we used in our last set of notes. So either the cosine, I have no idea where that dotted line came from, of x equals 0, or 3 minus the sine of x equals 0. So once again, I am going to take the square root of both sides. So luckily we have a 0, so the cosine of x is just going to equal 0. So if we think about, when is the cosine of x going to equal 0, I'm hoping this becomes more kind of second nature to you. Remember, the cosine of x is going to be that x coordinate. When is that x coordinate 0? And that happens at pi over 2 and at 3 pi over 2. We also have to worry about this equation over here. So when I subtract 3 and then I divide by -1, we have, when will the sine of x equal 3? Well, I need you to kind of think about, so that's why I pulled this graph up. If you think about when will the sine of x on our graph equal 3, it's impossible because we're dealing with just the sine of x, which is our parent, and we earlier just said that the highest y value is a 1 and the lowest is -1. So that's why I just want to kind of remember that when we graph that, the sine of x equals 3, it will not happen. 3 is outside of the range of our parent sine function. So what's nice is that that kind of is impossible. So you have two answers to this question. Okay? All right, let's go to number 2. And for number 2, we want to look for GCF. Well, unfortunately, there is not a GCF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, okay, this is more kind of like our trinomial. So I'm going to factor this, and let's see, what multiplies together to give us 2 and adds to give us 3, that's a 1 and a 2. So we have the sine of x plus 1 times the sine of x plus 2. And remember, we have to ask ourselves, when will each one of these factors equal 0? So when will the sine of x equals -1, or when will the sine of x equal -2? Well, since we just talked about that graph, the sine of x of any angle will never equal -2. That's outside of our range. So when will the sine of x equals -1? Well, that's when is the y coordinate of that angle going to be -1. And that only occurs down at the point 0, -1, and that is at 3 pi over 2. So you only have one answer there. All right? All right, let's go on. For number 3, very similar to how I had you do on the back of that factoring review worksheet, we want to get everything on one side first. So when I move everything to one side, and if I did not leave you enough room, I'm sorry. I know it's hard to write with a stylus if you're doing that, but you feel free to always take out just your own paper. But I'm going to move and subtract that cosine squared so that we get set it equal to 0 to hopefully use that zero product property. So I'm going to look for a GCF, which is cosine squared of x. Whoa. Sorry. So if I factor out cosine squared of x, I'm left with 2 cosine squared of x minus 1. So really now we can look at our zero product properties. So when will cosine squared of x equal 0, or 2 cosine squared of x minus 1 equals 0? So once again, I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and we love having that cosine of x equals 0 because we actually just did it up above. So that means x is pi over 2 or 3 pi over 2. But then we have to solve this 2 times cosine squared x minus 1 equals 0 equation. So that would be cosine squared of x equals a positive 1/2. So I have to square root both sides. So when will the cosine of x equal a positive or negative 1 over radical 2? Well, if I simplify 1 over radical 2, that's going to be, when will that equal plus or minus radical 2 over 2? Sorry, I'm going to squeeze this in. So I'm thinking that is around our relationships of our 45-degree angles. So we're actually going to have 6 answers here. So for this side, it's our pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4. So I am going to circle this so that you know what the heck I'm talking about. So we have all 6 answers. All right. And I think I can squeeze one more in my time limit for this video, and then I'll probably have you try, if I were you, I would try 5 and 6 on your own and then check it with part 2 of the video. Okay? All right, on to number 4. So in number 4, once again, I'm going to look for that GCF. It's not there. We have a trinomial, but this time that leading coefficient is not a 1. So we're looking for numbers that multiply together to give us 2 times 1 is 2 and add to give you 3. If you can factor this easily, great by now. If not, we have that X method that we kind of demonstrated and that factoring review Nearpod if you needed it. But this is going to factor into 2 cosine of X plus 1 times the cosine of X plus 1. And so once again, we want to break this up and look at each factor individually for that zero product property. So when will 2 times cosine of X plus 1 equal 0? Or when will the cosine of X plus 1 equal 0? So here we're going to have, oops, I'm sorry, I'm horrible at this. When will the cosine of X equal a negative 1/2? Or when will the cosine of X equal negative 1? So once again, and you know, I think it's important for me to bring up, and I totally could just stop and move on and just kind of like go through the motions. But if you think about our cosine graph, remember our cosine graph started like this. And so it also has that range from negative 1 to 1. But if you think about on this graph, which has a period of 2 pi, so even if you're not, memorizing that unit circle or don't have it memorized yet, but you want to know when, when is that value going to be at negative 1? And so that happens in the middle here at pi. So that kind of takes care. So this is going to be when x is equal to pi. So I just want to remind you, I don't want you to not think about the graphs that we worked so hard on last chapter. And then when will the cosine of x equal negative 1/2? Well, that occurs at 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. So we have 3 answers. Okay? All right, what I would have you do is try 5 and 6 on your own. They look a little bit more intimidating. Try them, see if you can work through them on your own. And then I'm going to just do video for part 2, another video, so I don't get cut off. All right?